Hello, everyone. Wrapping can be a time consuming operation, especially when you need to process a lot of scans. At the same time, it requires some user interaction to set up control points by hand. In this tutorial, I will show you how to split the process into two parts. In the first part, we'll specify control points for all the scans. Then, in the second part, we'll run wrapping in batch mode using previously selected control points. Okay, let's get to it. I'll start with creating a load geometry node. First, I will select a list of 3D scans from the Wrap Examples folder. Let's turn off wireframe and rename our node to Scan. I'll assign a texture to my scan, so I'll go ahead and create a load image node. Again, I'll select a list of textures. As I'm connecting two nodes, you can see a texture is being applied to my scan. Now I will load a base mesh. I'll use standard wrap base mesh with mouth socket. Let's assign it a different color. Like that. Let's also call the node a base mesh. In order to achieve accurate wrapping, we need to specify a set of control points between the scan and the base mesh. To do that, we can use the Select Points node. I'll plug the base mesh to the left input and the scan to the right one. I'll press the E key to switch to the Editor tab. Here, you can see two models side by side. I'll synchronize both viewports. What I'm going to do here is to specify some control points for the most critical areas of the face, like eye and lip corners. Please make sure that the points from the left and right-hand sides come in the same order. I also suggest specifying a few control points on the ears. Just like that. Let's repeat the same step for the other ear. All right. Now I will save the points on the right-hand side to a file. Let's come up over here to the parameter panel, switch to the right tab, and select the file name. I'll create a folder that will store my files. I'll just call it head wrapping. I'll set the file name to points, 3 hash signs, .txt. Let me explain why in a second. When I click Save, my points are being saved to disk. You probably noticed that the 3 hash signs were transformed into 000, which is a current frame number on my timeline. When I open the file, you will see that this is a regular text file in JSON format, compatible with WrapX. Okay, now let me go over here to the timeline and set a maximal frame number to 10. Now, when I switch to the next frame, Wrap will load me the next scan from the list. As expected, the points from the right-hand side no longer match the new scan. I will clear the current point selection and select points from scratch. Please be careful and select points in exactly the same order as on the left-hand side. Okay, all we need to do is to click Save to store my new points for frame 1. I'll switch to frame 2 and repeat the process one more time for the next scan. Again, let's clear the previous point selection and specify a new one. I'll skip this part of the video. Alright, now that I have selected all the points, I'll save it to the folder. When I check my folder, we can see 3 files being saved. Now comes the most important step. Let's come over here to the source parameter and change it from user input to a file. The points now become frozen, so you can't edit them. Now if I switch to my first frame again, my point selection will be automatically loaded for this particular frame. Okay, we only have a couple of steps left. Because we are using the base mesh with mouth socket, we need to exclude it from the wrapping process. I'll use the polygon selection node. I will hide these polygons so that we can see the mouth socket inside. The fast way to select it is to select a loop of polygons using the Shift key. Then, I will grow the selection until the entire socket is selected. Okay, now everything is ready for wrapping. I'll create a wrapping node. I'll turn off auto compute so that it will not start computation until I plug all the inputs. I'll plug the base mesh, the scan, the point correspondences, and the polygon selection. It's time to start wrapping. Very nice. Now the topology has been transferred to our scan. The final step, obviously, is to save our result to disk. Just like with point selection, I'll call the file wrapped 3 hash signs .obj. Let's come over here and click Compute Frame Range. I will specify my frame range from 0 to 49, and I'll leave a number of parallel processes to 7. Let's click the Start button and give it some time for computation. All right, let's check our output folder. Now we can see our tree-wrapped files. I will delete everything except this Load Geometry node, and I will change file names to my newly wrapped files. As you can see, all my models were wrapped pretty well. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you, and see you in upcoming videos.